So welcome back to Sound Bites. Today I'm chatting with Blomidon Estate winemaker Simon Rafuse. In a remarkable achievement, Blomidon Estate Winery's 2021 Chardonnay has been honored with a gold medal and an impressive score of 95 points at the Decanter World Wine Awards. This accolade places Blomidon among the elite in the global wine community. As you know, Decanter is widely regarded as the most authoritative wine competition in the world. So, welcome, Simon. How did you hear about this? Did it come as a shock, or there must have been a bottle or two opened once you heard the news.
Well, it's kind of funny. They do it in a peculiar way. They're very tight with their announcements, and so we got a message a little while ago, a couple of weeks ago, just confirming some details, but we had no idea what award it was that we'd won. So, you really kind of are left in the dark. And we've entered Decanter before, and we've won awards before and done very well, but never at this level. So we kind of knew something was up, but we didn't find out until this morning, basically.
Amazing.
Yesterday morning.
So, it's a pretty big deal. And what's interesting too is, you have you getting this 95-point recognition. Bruce, you were of Lackady Vineyards, about a month ago, I think, announced, or 2 months ago, that his Prestige Brood had got a similar score, I think, of 95. You got Gina, who was just nominated with won the Carl Kaiser Award. Do you think that this is part of the statement that Nova Scotia as a whole is becoming a stronger wine community? I think we can give credit to Benjamin Bridge and some others in the early 2000s for really putting Nova Scotia on a national, maybe international stage. But it feels like with a war like this, that the statement is it's a wine region that is capable of this.
Yeah, and that's kind of the way that we look at it. Like, Bruce did very well with this sparkling wine. And, in the past, we've won a whole bunch of silver medals at that competition for sparkling wines. But to win it for a still wine really kind of shows that we're not, we do a number of things at a really very high level and an international quality level. And that's what we're so pleased about. But the fact that you have a number of wineries doing well and being recognized and things like this just sort of goes to show that what we're doing here in Nova Scotia is very relevant, and it's worth paying attention to.
Yeah, and it's interesting that you won for the 21 Chardonnay. Now, it was the basic Chard, right? Not Chardonnay Reserve, correct?
Yeah, the basic Chardonnay, which is fantastic. So, basic, I guess, but
not as heavily exactly. oak or style, but
totally.
Does that in a way too suggest to me that international palates too are looking back to find the freshness that they may be missing a bit these days? Is that in a way you think some of the things that makes Nova Scotia wine stand out?
I think that's really, kind of the way we look at it. Because of our cool maritime climate and maritime terroir, we're able to offer a freshness in these wines that maybe more traditional regions have lost with a warming climate and a changing climate and things like that. So, this particular wine is a blend of stainless steel and barrel ferments. It does have that great fresh Nova Scotia acidity, but there's quite a lot of richness there as well. We've had a string of warm vintages, and it turned out great. And this was the only Chardonnay we entered. We don't make really enough of the reserve to do competitions like this, but to be awarded for something like this for kind of our Chardonnay rather than the reserve is fantastic.
Yeah, and consider 95 points. What does the Chardonnay retail for? Around $30?
Under $30, $29.50, $29.70 at some places, and it's a great value, I think.
And so that's almost a statement in its own way too, like that if you look at 95 points Decanter still white wine, very rarely do we see under $30. Mostly we're talking about could be wines that are in the hundreds of dollars at that price point.
Absolutely. And we were marked with a value commendation as well. So, the judges recognize that, this is an exceptional wine for the price. And The $30, like those are just the realities of grape growing. To do anything, that's barrel fermented and whatever, it costs that much money to make. But this is a wine that we try to keep accessible. We try to keep it accessible for customers, for restaurants, for things like that. You'll see it by the glass in a number of places around the province, and we're absolutely thrilled.
And how much validation is it for Chardonnay? I mean, we had a string of good vintages there. Last year, obviously, was a much different story on all levels. What's your opinion? So, I mean, it's got to be tearing because, you have this great success, and we know ecologically when we have good conditions, Chardonnay is perfect for what we do. And then we have last year where we have some, climactic challenges, particularly that polar vortex. That the vine killing polar vortex. Where are you at in terms of?
Well, wine regions all over the world face different challenges. Whether it's hail in France or Argentina, or for us it's in Canada, it's polar vortexes, frosts, things of that nature. It's always a challenge, and we're lucky here in Nova Scotia that we can make great wines out of varieties like Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, Gamay, but we have a backbone of core varieties that do well in sort of a more challenging climate like L'Acadie Blanc, Céval, Baco, etc. So I'm a firm believer that Nova Scotia is Chardonnay country. We prefer it to Pinot. We use a little bit Pinot Noir in some of our sparkling wines, and we'll make a little bit of red here and there. But I think Chardonnay does consistently better. I think we've shown the success with Chardonnay's sparkling wines before as of other wineries. And in certain vintages, still wines too, obviously. So I think the challenge as a business is to build in sort of the resilience to get through those challenging vintages. We're always learning in the vineyard and how to manage it better. We're learning what works in the cellar and what doesn't. For example, like with our sparkling wines, we've transitioned pretty much exclusively to a non-vintage, sort of lineup with the, Blanc de Blanc vintage dated wines that are different, but everything else is pretty much non-vintage now. And that's going to help us mitigate some of these severe weather events and things like that. But, Chardonnay is the second most planted grape in the province, and I think for very good reason.
Right. And like you said, it's not just us that have these environmental travesties, and
absolutely,
and in a way we got to feel lucky. In some ways, BC is completely devastated.
Yeah,
but as you mentioned, hail storms can wipe out entire swaths of land in Mendoza.
Yeah, I mean, there was just a big one in France the other day, and it's really tough. And the climate change it seems to be creating more and more of these severe weather events, and it's just up to us to manage not only the vineyards and the wines, but the businesses to be able to absorb them.
Okay, so how does one get the 2021 Chardonnay? Because I went online right away to see if I could buy it.
Yeah,
and,
you're gonna have to be slightly patient. No, it's going to be released very soon. There's just a little bit of 2020 left to move through, but it's always available up here at the winery, and then hopefully very soon it'll be available at some retailers across the province, and hopefully it'll continue to be in some of the restaurants as well.
Amazing. So anybody watching, look for that and buy it up when it comes out, because I'm sure it won't last long. So thank you, Simon.
Yeah.